What is up, homies? Welcome back to another trailer reaction from Heroes Reforged. We're doing the official trailer for Marvel Studios' Hawkeye, Augustine's most anticipated series of the year.
I am so ready for this one.
Number one attendee to the Player Haters Ball. It's Augustine Rios.
Player Haters Ball. I need to come up with like a good player hater name.
This show's dropping November 24th. It'll wrap out the last Wednesday of 2021. Our buddy Matt Acevedo tweeted, congrats Matt Fraction, because apparently it's going to be taking a lot from the Fraction run. I mean, we saw those like advertising title cards, and it's like a straight rip from the Matt Fraction comic book. So I got some reading to do before the show starts.
Yes, you do. Augustine, have you read those comics yet? The Matt Fraction Hawkeye comics?
I have not. I will try to find them on Hoopla Digital and see if they're, and if they're not there, I'll borrow them from you. Yeah,
I'm going to get them to you guys if you guys don't have them, because I will say this, like out of all of the comics I've ever read that have Clint Barton in them, it was Matt Fraction's and David Aja's book, David Aja's book, that actually made me love Clint. And I have kept that love since Jeremy Renner has appeared in 2011 in Thor, to be like, oh man, he's such a great character, and they got a pretty good actor to play him. Like, let's see what they do it. And it's been a real interesting journey as a Hawkeye fan to have him in the movies, because he is at times beloved, and at other times he is kind of a punching bag, and people and sometimes the movies lean into that. And the fact that he was married with a family, I think, made a lot of Hawkeye fans go, oh, now we're never going to get that sort of Matt Fraction stuff where he's in New York. Why would he be in New York? The beauty of the MCU is that it can deliver. It will deliver if there's any potentiality. Let's see what this show can do.
Let's see what it is.
It can convert the haters, the player haters.
hey. I do want to say that everything that I've seen with Marvel so far has done a really good job of making me care so much about a character who I probably wouldn't look twice at. Like, we got a really deep understanding of Wanda and Vision's relationship and how deep that actually goes. We got a really good friendship connection between Bucky and Sam.
Yeah.
I was very lukewarm on Loki before Loki came out, and now it's one of my most highly anticipated projects coming back to visit that. So I don't doubt that this is going to do the same thing for me and Hawkeye. So we'll see. But watch out there, Hawkeye, because that player hater eye is watching you, homie.
Quick reminder, you guys can check out our Patreon, patreon.com/heroesreforged. We have a ton of series that we've been reacting to over the span of the whole entire year, and we will more than likely be adding this show to our Rolodex of stuff. So,
yes, sir.
You guys ready to watch this trailer?
Let's do it.
Yes.
All right, here we go.
This is the first Christmas we've had together in years.
I love you guys.
What?
Making up for some lost time.
Rogers the musical.
Authorities are wondering if the masked vigilante who terrorized.
So did him and Laura divorce?
No. Now somebody's dressing up like Ronin.
We'd be worried.
No, it's nothing. I'll be home for Christmas. I promise.
He's gonna go to New York.
Oh boy.
New York while the family goes back home.
When I wore this suit, I made a whole lot of enemies.
Oh, that's Kate Bishop.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh.
Who the hell are you?
Some people have actually called me the world's greatest archer.
Oh, my sweet Jesus. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh my God, what?
Rogers.
I actually love this vibe.
Some Christmas.
It's
wow.
At the end of this series, you better say yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Yippee-ki-yay, mother effer indeed.
I actually really like this Christmas tone. I think that's super fun.
Look, if there's anything lacking more in media, it's just more Christmas stuff.
Oh,
I love Christmas movies. I love holiday movies. All of that stuff just makes me feel really good. This has some really good vibes to it, honestly. It feels exciting and kind of fresh, even though it does feel like a kind of spy espionage kind of Mission Impossible thing. But what if Mission Impossible happened during Christmas? We've never seen that.
I think, Adam, you're kind of spot on with pulling up a Die Hard reference because it's a Christmas thing. But not only that, it has Clint Barton taking this John McClane role of like fighting a bunch of bad guys, but continually getting injured throughout.
Yeah.
That's going to be such a great way to get. And again, that comes from the Matt Fraction run. That dude gets beat up in that comic book. And the other thing I want to point out that's super fun is that it looked like the bad guys he was taking on that were like throwing the Molotov cocktail, and then they pulled all their guns when he's like tied to a chair. In the comic books that I'm referring to, they're called the Tracksuit Mafia. So it's all these like it's all these like Eastern Europe. It's like these Eastern European guys.
My people.
They constantly say like, bro, what are you doing, bro?
If they're all in Reeboks, I'm in, or Adidas
tracksuits.
Adidas
It's Adidas tracksuits for sure. So like it looks like they came up with a good excuse for him to stay in New York for this adventure.
Yeah.
His family's like, we got to go home. We just visited New York to see Rogers the musical. Now we're going home. Clint, you should come with us. I'll be home in a couple days, kids. I have to figure out this Ronin thing. It looks great, man. And above it all, Haylee Steinfeld is such a good actor, and the fact that they continue to build out the young Avengers, and that we're probably going to see her on a team with Eli Bradley, Elijah Bradley's grandson, with Cassie Lang, Hulkling, and Wiccan, possibly Wiccan being the grown-up son of Wanda, who's going to get saved and maybe aged up to a teenager with his brother who go by the name Speed. It's so cool and exciting that they're building that out, the next generation of characters, because it's like, there is a world where they never would have done this project, and then they would have had to find some way for Haylee Steinfeld maybe later to show up as Kate Bishop without any connection to Clint. And it's like, that would have been fine too, but the fact that we get to do this handoff of the baton, it's more meaningful, just like when you read those comics and Kate Bishop shows up and Clint's there and he's a mentor. It's awesome, dude.
Think about how brilliant that is, though. Just a few years ago, this would not have been possible. A few years ago, the Netflix series was not officially tied to the MCU, right? And so that would have been really the only avenue that we had. And now we have this whole other way of telling stories that frees up the ability to be able to pass the baton like that. Think of who's gotten the baton passed. Sam has gotten the baton passed, and now it feels like Hawkeye's going to pass the baton. So what it makes me think, or what it makes me wonder, is how is this going to play in the main MCU line, given that we have the Young Avengers? I don't know if the Avengers, the normal Avengers, are going to go anywhere. What do you guys think? Are we going to have like dual Avengers happening at the same time? Is this going to be like a passing of the baton just to new Avengers, and we're not going to worry about any of the old school people anymore? I don't know. How do you guys feel?
I feel like it could be a mix and match. I think there's some characters who can pass the baton, but both versions of that character are like, I think you could have two Hawkeyes easily if you really wanted to, and they would just have separate adventures that they would go on. And Clint's been a character who we've really been trying to focus on his family a lot more in the last several films. So I don't know, like it would also be fine with me if Clint Barton, the character, just retires and he's more as like an advisory role for Kate Bishop and for some of the other Avengers as well. So I don't think that we necessarily have to, any original Avenger who retires, I don't think they all have to die unless the story calls for it. Like I would love to see Hemsworth in the MCU forever. I don't think that Thor needs to die, but I think the role of Thor can be passed on to more worthy people. In the
I agree.
The tricky thing about that too is that Thor as a character is supposed to be immortal.
Exactly.
And it's like Hemsworth, even though he's an Australian demigod, the dude is he's
a mortal man.
Like he's aging, and I feel like there may even be a side of Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans retiring where it is also them being like, look, not only can I not stay this youthful forever, but I also kind of want Tony Stark to go out where he is sort of in his prime and people maybe remember him that way. And Evans, as Steve Rogers was thinking the same thing. It's the reason Steve left Blue's Clues, is because Steve is like, dude, I'm aging in front of these preschoolers for real. And he's like, I can't, you know, like, he's like, I don't want to lose my hair in front of these kids. And like, he wanted to go do other things. And so the opportunity presented itself for Joe to come in and then, you know, and then the new guy. But anyway, I think we're all just thinking about that Blue's Clues video. Where,
that's,
but to your guys' point, like, I think that the Young Avengers will be a team that will form with these young people, and there will maybe be a version of the Avengers by then active, and it will be Sam Wilson as Cap, maybe Jane Foster as Thor, Shuri Black Panther, you know, Captain Marvel, Doctor Strange, Spider-Man for sure, but there may be like an official sanctioned Avengers team, and this Young Avengers, maybe they're too inexperienced to get on there, and people like Sam Wilson and Carol Danvers, they're like, no, you're too young, Miss Marvel. Like, you can't just be on the Avengers. But the teenagers rebel and go, well, we're going to make our own team, and that's their own thing. As far as the Avengers go, like to Adam's point, I think that after this show, Clint Barton will retire. He will remain alive in the MCU universe so that years from now, when you've got Haylee Steinfeld and she graduates to like an Avengers movie and she is the Hawkeye and has been for years, that there could be a scene where like for emotional reasons, she goes out to a farm and visits like Jeremy Renner and he's there and he's like, hey, I've been seeing what you're doing, kid. Like, and they could still, they could still do that. But I think they can't do old man. Steve Rogers, I think, is really kind of gone. Either he's in another universe or he died. I don't think he's on the moon, but, and you can't do that with Tony Stark either. That I know of. And I think in the case of Tony Stark, people are like, well, maybe Robert Downey will come back and be like a hologram. And I'm like, I think it does sort of cheapen a little bit of that character's ending and his sacrifice. Same with Natasha Romanoff. Like she, you know, that movie passed the baton. We have a new Black Widow. She's going to show up in this. Apparently she's going to try to kill Hawkeye and there'll be a misunderstanding. And then, you know,
and then they'll be homies.
It's just, and then they'll be homies.
They'll have their own Budapest. They'll have their own Budapest story.
I think there will be, you know, with the release dates that Marvel just put out, and some of them are like unclaimed. They're just, you know, a release date in a year and nobody knows what the movie is yet. A lot of fans are like, well, where's the next Avengers? Where's the next Avengers? And I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, like, honestly, dude, they might hold off on an Avengers proper movie for like 8 to 10 years. And it may sound insane to do that, but it's like, but think about the long game, the build up of like, you know, setting up all these other different villains and characters and then introducing the Fantastic Four, and then maybe Doctor Doom. And then you have Namor the Submariner maybe coming in with Wakanda Forever and all these different elements at play, Kang. And then finally, like 8 years from now, they put out a movie that they just call The New Avengers. And it's like, then fans start to go like, well, who's going to be in it? It's like, you got to spend the next couple of years to build up the other characters that are going to be in that, because you spent 10 years building up Captain America with his movies, Thor with his movies, Iron Man with his movies, so that when those moments hit at the end of Endgame and during Infinity War, they hit, you got to do the same thing with the new characters. Carol Danvers,
the Avengers have to have a big reason to assemble, basically.
That's
big reason to assemble. That is exciting. No joke, Hector. You just pumped me up for the next 10 years. That sounds amazing. After they fight World Breaker Hulk, after Doctor Doom tries to take over Wakanda, after Doctor Strange comes out of hell, like whatever's going on, like that's gonna be crazy.
Mephisto confirmed. Mephisto confirmed.
Mephisto confirmed for sure.
Guys, let us know your theories, what your thoughts on this trailer, and where do you think the future lies for Clint Barton? Do you think he'll die? Do you think he'll survive, become a mentor role? Let us know in the comments below. Subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you guys in the next reaction.